the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Afi December 7th general elections. Ya Ghana for do na ehwe ni mo no. It will be very very interesting. Na campaign na ekoso. People bia today say we no go gree. We no go gree because asem bia wo be gina Nsem-Pii so aka. Say we presidential candidate, say we flag bearer, say we running mate. It will be subjected to series of scrutiny. Ne yahunu said ya wo kan eye no kore. Ewom sa na tie. Ansa na Ghana for be consume o ma consume. Anything the former president John Dramani Mahama once again has been caught in the web of lies. Now, Samuel Koku Enidoho the Bull, ako ne Twitter handle, ako expose the former president. Sanso na kwamba for ya dodo na afre na bronye, and so I expose the former president on this same issue. Eye issue ben, the issue of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. Ye said the former president, any ne NDC entourage, ewo the Volta region, ya omoye campaign. Actually, ene omo did the entire Volta regional campaign talk ebe wiye. Na ewiye na owa aflao. Na aflao no di Nsem-Pii kotu dwa. Nsem di kotu dwa ne say, onu as flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, Babe introduce ade a friend on National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. San se osusu se empaibo ene aseda ye de Nyankopon ebeboa amanyame etenanim aba be hwe oman yi. Na se nipa na atwahie mu ho afla wo bom nsem fia. No se sense ma waka na enye no kore. Enye no na introduce bibia ade ne se wo ho da. First of all, yenko tie the audio of Kwanya, not the former president, Air Force Wakase. One of the policies they say we introduce National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. Now for you ya babe here responsa. Koku de do any abronye ede emano. Now for mo the evidence start to my who said the former president John Dramani Mahama or your true ankasa.
Nations, even though God expects us to work hard to improve our circumstances, also recognize that spiritually you must intercede for God to open the gates for you. And so in the United States, in Zambia, in Congo, in so many countries that I've been to, I've been invited to national Thanksgiving prayers for their nation. And so we intend to introduce annually a national day, of prayer and thanksgiving, so that we will thank God for whatever He's done for us, so that He will do more for us. The position of president gives whoever occupies it a huge latitude of discretion to take decisions on behalf of 30 million people. And some of those decisions could be very disastrous, and I can give you examples. If I were president, I would not have closed those 10 banks and thrown 10,000 of my citizens out of work. At the same time, you guarantee the deposits of everybody whose money was in the banks. And the guarantee of those deposits means that you have to refund to Ghanaians an amount of 22 billion cedis. So you solve a 4 billion problem with a 22 billion debt. And that's why I say there is huge discretion in the executive. And so we must be careful because elections have consequences. And that's why as men of God, you must pray that whoever is elected has the sense of discernment to make the right decisions so that our nation will prosper and progress.
Enti audio no ene nyine kotie ye no seven the former president editor dwano eno na yewura Koku Enidoho call ne Twitter handle and the X handle ena wotwere ye wase, please stop the gross deception because the late Professor J.E.A. Mills introduced the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving in 2009 and continued it in 2010, 2011, and 2012 at the Independence Square. You came into power and abolished it after the last one was held in 2012. You took over as president and cancelled it. If you want to reintroduce it, say so, but don't claim you will introduce. You have no shame, as you have moved from claiming free SHS to NHIS and now National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. The kuku enyi do ho chirimwa. Sa National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving asemwa. Former President John Dramani Mahama ko kan say e kan the policy ho a onu na be introduce na kuku do ho chirimwa enya no kre. The late Professor J.E.A. Mills and the buy. Or Shasia 2009. Or to aswa the BC 2012 ya ne koso e wo the Independence Square. Emra wo free mu na obeso afana mu so anyese Ghana man panyini say Kim e na wotwe. So wo de empire boni Nyankopon ase da de onfa nyare nti wo na wotwe. Enti nei se wo san pese wo san kofa ba biwa ka kire Ghana fo se me se kofa the late Professor J.E.A. Mills adia wo shaase wo Ghana na ye National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. But enko Nsem-Pii so ko kan kire Ghana for say ona wo de ba because nya ona wo de ba. The former president, the late Professor J.E.A. Mills ene shaase. Koko de do wie ye no an na kwamba fa branya so ko on Facebook ko. Eno so ko kire won say thank you my brother Kwaku. Eno no so screenshot to enema mienu. 1 Ghana Web story ya omo ye no Friday the 12th of March 2009. Story ne say President J.E.A. Mills have asked Ghanaians to support and participate in the maiden edition of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving, scheduled for Sunday, March 14th, 2009 at the Independence Square. Ghana Web, Friday, 12th of March 2009. Yana the first ever edition of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. The natural say, as someone a cocoa do ho kan and a kwamba for bronya abetwa enam dia to so say sa pepepe netie enti enye former president John Dramani Mahama enye ne policy no ababeka so ni introduce the late Professor J.E.A. Mills ne hyase Nsem-Pii TV yenso ye dwidwi mu a kohwe sensem mpanifo mienu kan enokra be ne wom ena Nyankopon ya adom yakwa akonya a video of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving held at the Independence Square. Ya Professor J.E.A. Mills no akasa na owomu bia na wodi asa. Ya Professor Asante sabre no ono enema sermon on that particular day just to show that the vice and the flag bearer of the NDC lied to the chiefs and people of Aflabo. Tiyanko the video of the first or the maiden edition of the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. Nei John Dramani Mahama si yento nyom fan frene sans on ne de.
This service is a culmination of week-long activities marking the week of Thanksgiving, fasting, and prayer. Giving the sermon, my own presiding bishop, Reverend Dr. Asante. Let me say, my brothers and sisters, that as he was speaking, I kept asking myself, assuming I use this sermon as a yardstick, do I pass or fail? I know my answer. What is your answer? As a nation, we should know that it is God who is the president of this nation. And indeed, I owe nobody an apology for giving him his due. My only prayer is that those of us who are in leadership positions will be humble enough to allow the Almighty to use us as His servants to do His bidding.
NDC politics was 2004.
At that time, you had become a member of the NDC already.
What are you talking about? 2004, 2000 when NDC lost. 2001. Yen ye form NDC Youth Forum. Kuku Hill. Now Nilante. He was not part of the Youth Forum.
He's just
a braggart. That's all he does. Oh. He's just a braggart, brags. What he hasn't done, he says he has done. What he hasn't seen, he has seen. Where he hasn't gone, he has gone. That's how come he created problems for himself with President Mills.
But what he say? Why would he say as someone
because that's the impression he tries to create. That he took me to, and I'm telling you that the first time I saw Neelant, and he's in Ghana. I'm in Ghana. If he's ready one day, let's have an open debate. Because I've had enough of the attempt to create the impression that he created me. You Neelant, how could you create me?
How did you enter the NDC?
I am telling you that in 1992, the NDC was given birth to in Cape Coast.
Yeah.
Is that not it?
True.
So on Legon campus, we were NDC students on Legon campus.
Okay.
And so in 1992, I voted in front of Legon Hall. I voted NDC 92. 96, I told you about my first masters.
Yeah.
I left the country 95. So 96, I was not in the country. I didn't, so I couldn't vote.
Okay.
Because there was nothing here about ROPA, those days. 2000, I voted NDC.
Oh, back.
I was back in town then.
Okay.
I voted NDC. And I've always voted NDC. So, and I'm telling you that Neelant van der Poel, my first encounter with Neelant van der Poel politically was in 2004. After Jake Koye's press conference,
Declare
Kufuor winner. So we were the Kuku Hill boys.
Okay.
Then Neelant drove in. And that time Stan Dogbe and this Komna Dumoya, they were the the MPP. Well, they were the media guys on Joy, who declared the results for MPP. That they had done all the simulation, they had done everything.
Projections.
MPP has won. NDC cannot do anything about it.
This was 2004.
Stand up. And my late brother Komla Dumo, that's what they did at Multimedia. Komla, may your soul rest in peace. So after that declaration, of course, subsequently the EC declared
the
MPP winner.
Yeah.
So we, the Kuku Hill boys, we were there. And I remember how Neelant drove in. Where he drove in from, I'm not too sure. He was now coming in to come and ask, what are we doing about the
declaration
that has taken place? That's the first time I encountered him.
Okay.
He was not part of the NDC. I challenged Neelant van der Poel.
And at that time, Kuku Hill was Professor Mills' office.
That was his shrine, President Mills' shrine. I call it political shrine. Neelant was not part of the Youth Forum from 2001. In fact, he wasn't up to today. He wasn't part of it. Why? So when he goes around saying, when did he bring me to the NDC? How did he bring me? President, look.
Who is your godfather when NDC anymore?
President Mills. There are only two godfathers.
When?
President Mills and Professor Uno.
Okay.
That's all. I don't have any other godfather in NDC. Magana carry Tom.
Oh, sir.
Nobody. I said, so 2001. So we lost 2000. 2001, Bibi. I was working at the Metropolitan and Ally Bank.
Yeah.
The first private commercial bank in Ghana. A Ghanaian Malaysian collaboration.
Yeah.
Which had then Mr. Alex Ashagbo, a two-time governor of the Central Bank,
okay,
as the executive chairman.
Okay.
And I was his executive assistant.
Okay.
So, Bibi, we have gotten, by the grace of God, we've gotten exposure. Long before we entered politics, an executive assistant to an executive chairman, attending board meetings within the financial sector, here in Ghana.
And abroad.
Name it, Wall Street. Meeting with,
what was he saying?
The point I'm making is so I was gainfully employed at the time that the NDC lost in 2000. So 2001, when a group of young guys came together to form the Youth Forum. In the past, I used to mention their names.
Okay.
But I've stopped mentioning their names.
Why?
No. Let them tell their own story.
Okay.
But I will mention some names.
Okay.
The late Gadiel Aqua. We called him Otache.
Okay.
The late Jijote. May their soul rest in peace. John Adams, who was our convener. Komla Sopo. Komla Biyako, we call him Sopo Sale.
Okay.
Isaac Afeti. Clarissa Akolache. I like to mention those people because those people have never been in contention, have never had any contention with me.
Okay.
The ones that are your friends and your colleagues and your contemporaries who think that they are in some psychological battle with you, let them tell their own story. But all I can say is that people like Okujotoa Blakwa and Omani Bwama were never part of the youth forum.
Are they claiming to have been?
I'm just stating that record so that nobody thinks that they were part of us. They were not part of us.
But it's also a record said they have never claimed to have been.
I haven't said so, but I'm only saying they were not part of us.
Okay.
These boys just came 2008 through CGA and their master Kwesi Pratt, and they came through and they came and joined. Why are they dumb? So people who join at different levels. But let's take the record straight. How can I live?
What else you member?
The point I'm making. So I'm coming to the point. Let me don't jump my thoughts. Just to establish so that I've been in NDC and I only met Neil Ante in 2004.
Okay.
President Mills taught all of us at Legon. And so my relationship with President Mills also started from Legon. I knew him, not because he lectured me in class, but he was a lecturer on campus that we all knew.
I know my training be a bema mame. You good.
No, you are the chirefo. Now chira there. Legon. So students knew him. I mean, that kind of thing. And son of of course, vice president.
Yeah.
So I kept an eye on him. 2000, Obey a candidate in Oluzuye. 2001, and I called Canada. So he went on a 1-year sabbatical.
Okay.
And now, Nkolana Yeguechi, Yokuku Hill. Talk about it. In 2002. And I was made a member of the Kuku Hill communications team.
Okay.
While I was at the bank.
Okay.
Now, 2001, Bibi, when the chips were down, Nakufo, meaning Crawford, Tata, Rollins, near Fred Rollins, I ne. You call President Mills fee and say we are cars. You call Tata Nadu, say ni say, you're paying for, you say report to Yoko, all kinds of things. That was when my gift of writing started.
Okay.
Of course, I used to write, but then officially now, I started writing under pseudonyms.
Okay.
Using pen names. Because my job will not allow me.
Exactly. To stick your neck out like that. Partisanly.
Good. But you close from the bank, remove your tie, go to Kuku Hill, go for meetings. Sunday, we'll go and watch football at Accra Sports Stadium. From there, we are back at Kuku Hill till midnight. We're having meetings. And because one was working.
You've paid your due.
Because we were working, we had some money. So we could finance certain activities. And those were the early days of serial calling. Into phone lines, Kuku Hill, no.
Serial calling.
There was even a culture of backpass those days.
Yeah.
Hijacking one liner. Backpass. It's one line. People best say 7 make me casa.
Exactly.
Of course, those were the early days of even serial calling.
Yeah.
Baby, we've gone through that. Then, so as a member of the Kuku Hill communication team, Satana Rojo Metelnunu, he was the chairman of the committee.
Okay.
And at 2004, Anye. 2005, still at the bank.
Fast forward.
Hold on. Yes. Then one morning, I had just finished morning devotion.
Okay.
When President Mills, then of course Professor Mills. So he had lost 2004.
Yeah.
So technically, he was not the candidate of the party.
Exactly.
So somewhere along the line, he called and said, Koku, prior to that,
okay.
But he wants a very small team. But enterprising people.
Okay.
And he's looking for an enterprising Voltarian.
Okay.
So, Koku, can you help me identify somebody? Okay. If I never occurred to me, say, but my question was that, but Papa, maybe on my bank, me and yeah, youth forum, and so me church, me articles, me they support. Where am I going to find a person from for you? Master, exactly. That was my thinking.
Okay.
He called once again. Kokovi found the person. I said, "Oh, sir, I'm still searching." Hey, maybe be fine. Bibi.
When you were being discussing,
the only person who knew this story was Kobi Fiagbe.
Oh, okay. Kobe.
Yeah.
I know he's listening right now.
I mean, Kobi knows it.